Hey there, everybody. We are live. Hooray! And I'm doing the thing where I post the link. And I'm going to do that. And I'm going to say tips are welcome. So how's everyone doing today? I hope you're doing very well. Um, Venmo at Amy Kucharik. That's it. Okay, let's do the thing. Post. Woohoo! Done. Um, it's always good to give a couple minutes for folks to find us as well. So, yay. There we go. Well, let's see here. Hello, Keith. Keith from Minnesota has joined us. Awesome. Thanks for joining. So I'm Amy Kucharik, and this is my Sunday live stream show, and it's the penultimate show of our series here. I've been doing this since I don't remember exactly when, sometime in the winter. I've been doing this every Sunday, except for when there was something else going on Sunday. And it turns out that now that the weather's starting to get nicer and things are starting to open up again, starting to have more opportunities to do things in real life in person. So I'm going to go on hiatus from the live stream show. But we've got next week, I'm going to be at the Burren, live at the Burren on stage with my band. And you can come to that in person. And I'll tell you about that in a minute. And then the following week is Easter. So we're just going to take the day off. Happy Easter. And then the following week, it's April 24th. It's going to be a 2-hour super special stream with multiple guests. And I'm really excited about that as well. But I'm going to play a song to get started here. So this is one of mine. This was called Perfect Rhyme. Your apples and oranges, which means you are beyond compare. You're the one I adore. While I work up the courage, the words keep sticking on my tongue. So I'll sing you this song, 'cause you're a letter from a mystic shore. A bluebird melody in midair. You're a sunny day and a longing kiss goodnight. You're a Motown song at Christmas time. An unexpected perfect rhyme. Oh baby, tell me it's gonna be alright. Oh baby, tell me it's gonna be. This feeling is dangerous. Wanna say I'm falling head over heels, but my heart I conceal. But I can't hide the rush of my pulse when I'm lying in your arms, surrounded by your warmth. And I'm afraid this world's gone crazy. Where to go? What is true? But I know I can face it, babe, if I stand right here with you. 'Cause you're the treasure map and the lucky sign. You're the coffee cup and the sunset ride. You're the twinkling of 1,000 colored lights. You're a Motown song at Christmas time. An unexpected perfect rhyme. Oh baby, tell me it's gonna be alright. Ooh baby, tell me it's gonna be alright. All right, indeed. So that's a song that doesn't rhyme, and it's called Perfect Rhyme, and I hope you enjoyed it. So I'm going to bring on a special guest. I'm very excited for today's guest. We were supposed to do a live show in person together, which had to be canceled because of the pandemic. And as of yet, we've still not been able to get back together because he's down in Virginia and I'm up in Somerville, Massachusetts. But we're going to make it happen in the future. Meanwhile, we get to do it here on the internet thanks to the wonderful technology that we have in front of us here. So, my special guest today is a award multiple award-winning songwriter. That's what I was trying to say. And I met him at the Kerrville Folk Festival. He was one of my classmates in 2015 in the New Folk competition. And he is one of this year's winners of the Mask, the Mid-Atlantic Songwriting Contest, the big winner. And he's got a new album coming out in a couple months. His name is Mike Ryan, and here he is. Ta-da!
Hello, hello. Thank you so much for having me. I'm jealous of your background.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, you know what? I got this on Amazon, and it's just like it looks like I'm in the mountains or
Yeah,
something.
I look like I'm in an abandoned furniture store or something. It's gone out of business.
Oh, well, at least there's not like clutter behind you.
That's
That's
true. Yeah, it could be. I'm sure there's all kinds of horror stories about that. So yeah, no,
this
just
was my
curtains.
yeah, this was my pandemic project.
I like it.
We have a basement and we painted it and cleaned it up and I put this curtain. I've had a series of different backdrops, but and I've got all these lights. I don't have like professional lighting or anything, but I've got um, a desk lamp and one of those like live streaming vlogger lamps
Yeah,
and then just like a clip lamp from the hardware store and kind of makes a little stage here in my basement.
well, that's the thing. Nobody knows the difference.
Yeah. So do you have any big pandemic projects?
Well, the big, you mean other than music?
I mean, like, do you bake bread
Oh
or,
yeah, actually I do. So I can
Huh.
hijack the whole podcast or not podcast, the whole live stream here with my non-musical projects because I do a bunch of I'm like I restore cars and my wife and I do all kinds of home remodeling and stuff like that. But my big pandemic project was restoring a 1977 Toyota Land Cruiser.
Wow,
So yeah,
awesome.
we bought it from a guy in Colorado. It was ready for the junkyard, and my son and I worked on it most of the pandemic, and it's pretty sweet. I'll send you some pictures of it.
Yeah, I was
It's
gonna say
looking
if we
great.
had a picture, you could hold
Yeah,
it
I
up.
should have.
Right now, I don't have the way to, like, share the picture on the stream. It's
Yeah.
funny that that's not a thing I can do, but,
Yeah.
anyway, so musical projects, how about
Yeah, musical projects. Been working. Started, the album that will be coming out hopefully sometime in the next couple of months. Actually started prior to the pandemic, and then I kind of joke with the guy that I work with, who's my producer. Every time I try to work on a new record, he has some cataclysmic event in his life that knocks us off track. I shouldn't say cataclysmic, but some huge event. So the first time his wife got pregnant, and he was moving his studio, and this time his wife got pregnant, and the pandemic hit. And so, long story short, we're going to have it done. It's all done. It's being mixed and mastered right now, but so in little bits here and there we worked on it over the pandemic, and I think
so
it's
what you're
really going to be
telling
good.
me is that your producer's wife really likes your music.
I don't know about that. Funny story though, his mother loves my music. His mother emails
Huh.
me directly, and he's like, my mother has a picture of my father and your latest album on her on her dresser, right next to a picture of my dad is at home in the darkness, your most recent CD. So
Ah.
she'll just email me out of the blue. She did it just the other day. Hey Mike, this is Jane. I'm listening to your music. I love it so much. So
That's awesome.
yeah.
So, I'm going to ask you to play a song, but really quickly, we've got a few people watching now, which is awesome. And if you guys are enjoying this stream, or even if you're not, maybe grab that link and share it in your social media, on Facebook or wherever you're hanging out, or just tell somebody in the next room, "Hey, come in here and watch these people play songs." We really like to have an audience and say hi in the chat. That's it's like clapping, except you're saying hi.
That's true.
So, all right, let's hear a song.
All right, so I'll do a song that's going to be on the new record, and this is one of my favorites, and I guess I would say it's about where it's for anyone who's ever had someone that a love that came into your life and stayed in your life for just a little bit of time, but has stayed on your mind forever. And this is called Emilita. Well, an autumn breeze whispered in my window, soft as a morning dove's cry. And I thought about the way your hair brushed against my face the morning you gave me that last kiss goodbye. I still wonder where you are and what you're doing. You still come to me in midnight motel dreams. We raced each other down the road to ruin. I crashed and burned, you got away clean. Emilita, the color's bleeding from the day. Emilita, another long night's on the way. And I'll lie awake, missing the touch of your hand, knowing anyone that hasn't loved you, they could never understand. You had a mariposa tattoo on your shoulder and a nickel-plated pistol in your drawer. You were wiser and just a little older, and you put your hooks in me like nobody had before. Emilita, the color's bleeding from the day. Emilita, another long night's on the way. And I'll lie awake, missing the touch of your hand, knowing anyone that hasn't loved you, they could never understand. And in that little room at the top of the stairs, well, we'd dance to those Cuban songs. Music would play and your body would sway, and I knew even then it was too good to last for too long. Too good to last for long. Oh, Emilita, the color's bleeding from the day. Emilita, another long night's on the way. And I'll lie awake, missing the touch of your hand, knowing anyone that hasn't loved you, they could never understand. Anyone that hasn't loved you, they could never understand. Well, thank you. Thank you so much.
Come back there. That was awesome. I really like that song.
Thank you so much. Yeah, that's got some pretty cool chord voicings and stuff, and it came off about the way I wanted it to. So that's good.
Some of there are some chords in there that, it reminded me of Wes Collins' song "Diana."
Mhm.
So I don't know if there was any if the
Eh, it could be. I'm a huge Wes Collins fan. He's a good friend of mine, and so yeah, probably some of it steeped into my mind somewhere.
and you and
Never,
Wes have, like, almost the same birthday, isn't that right?
yeah, we have almost the same birthday. He has talent, and I don't, and that's.
Oh, that is so not true. That's so not true.
No, I
Oh.
always say Wes makes me want to write songs and stop writing songs all at the same time because he's so good. His stuff is just so great that I'm a fan, and I was a fan like before I got to know him very well. And then at Swerfa one year, we actually sat down and he played a bunch of his songs, and I was like singing with it was like singing with the radio. I had on my I call them my radio harmonies. And
Mhm.
so it was, but just a prince of a guy and just talent to spare. So
Yeah. So
yeah,
Imelita, is she a real person or you don't have to tell me if it's like
she's an amalgam of real people.
really.
Primarily my lovely and talented wife, but there's a few other.
Oh, well, what's your wife's name?
My wife's name is Jennifer, so
Oh, okay.
yeah,
I was just thinking about Diana, and Wes tells that long story,
yeah.
when he introduces the song about how his wife's name is Anita,
Anita, yeah,
and then he plays the song. This song is called Diana.
yeah,
So, but you have Imelita in your
yeah.
song. I don't
Well,
know.
songwriting, geek out on the songwriting part of it a little bit. The chord progression sounded sort of Latin when I wrote it. And so I wanted to use a girl's name. And so I actually Googled interesting, Latin female names, and I came up with a bunch of them. And that one was my favorite of the ones that I found. And it fit, perfectly for the lyrics. And so, yeah, so she's become a character.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
Uh, I especially like the line. I was like, "You still come to me in midnight motel
Motel
dreams."
Dreams. Yeah.
That's mm,
And that to get into the story of that I was actually doing a thing. I think they've discontinued it. I just read it the other day. It used to be called the Cape May Songwriter Festival in New Jersey, and I went up and did that one year. And I was staying in this junky motel, and I had a dream about somebody I used to know. It was a very vivid dream, and so I always wanted to find a way to put that line into a song. And then when I wrote that song, it's like, there it is. Yeah,
it's great when
perfect.
that works out.
Yeah,
In fact, that first song I played ended up being a receptacle for a couple of those lines. The Motown song at Christmas time was
yeah.
something I'd had in a couple other songs that sort of got. So finally, I found the right song for it.
Right. Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah. Well, I think I'll play a song that was also inspired by a dream. And
Perfect.
so this one, oh, and by the way, I want to say hi to my mom. Thanks for joining us. And also, Gordon is here, Gordon Nash, and Betsy O'Hara. So thank you so much for joining us and for saying hello. Good to see you guys in the chat. Keep telling your friends to come and watch. Oh, and thank you, Keith, for sharing the stream. So uh yeah, so let's get to it. This is a jazzy one, and I wrote this during the pandemic, recorded it, and there's a video on YouTube, and you can see people swing dancing in 4 different countries. We've got people from Boston, well, from the United States, all over the place, United States, and also Spain and Sweden, and I think Argentina are represented. And so this is called Dancing in My Dreams. If I met you on the street, would you know my tapping feet from when I danced with you last night? Would you recognize my face? Would you long for my embrace if I met you in the morning's light? Would you recollect my touch and have missed me just as much? Would I be familiar as you seem? Please excuse me if I stare, but I know you anywhere 'cause I met you dancing in my dreams. In your arms on cloud nine, paradise without words entwined. Would you startle? Would you blush? Would your heart begin to rush? I pray that fate will intervene, and I'll find you in the day. Then we'll dance in the same way as when we go dancing in my dreams. In your arms on cloud nine, paradise without words entwined. Would you startle? Would you blush? Would your heart begin to rush? I pray that fate will intervene, and I'll find you in the day. Then we'll dance in the same way as when we go dancing in. As when we go dancing in. As when we go dancing in my dreams. Hey.
Very nice. Very cool.
Thank you. Thank you.
Like it. So do you chart out those mouth trumpet solos, or do you just do that? Just improvise?
Improvise. Yeah, but interesting about that song is there actually are arranged horn parts for the song because we recorded it, and since we were doing it remotely and we wanted some sectional things to like so they couldn't just collaborate with each other in person. So I sat down with my trombone player and we like played through a bunch of stuff, and he and I both took a turn like writing down the melodies that we liked the best, and then he finished arranging it into a horn part. So yeah, the video actually includes the trombone and the clarinet and all the stuff. So it is very jazzy. Betsy says it's very jazzy. I like it.
Very nice.
Yeah. So that's kind of what I do. A lot of, I do a lot of that
Yeah.
jazzy and bluesy stuff for the dancers. So in addition to the folky singer-songwriter side.
You're multi-talented, multifaceted.
So shall we hear another one from you?
Yeah. So Keith, who logged on initially, actually discovered my music when I did a live stream with Grace Morrison about a month or so ago, and he was very taken with one of the songs I played, and so I told him I would play it tonight. This song is based on some folks that I knew that had a pretty chaotic childhood, and it's called Charlie. Wake up, Charlie, they're at it again. Sounds like a bad one this time. Dad came home, 3 sheets to the wind, and Mom, she's breaking stuff and crying. We'll slip out the window, down the back stairs, and I'll find us a safe place to hide. Take my hand, Charlie, try not to be scared, put your coat on. It's cold outside. But it seems this is happening more and more since the old man got laid off again. Angry voices behind the bedroom door, oh, and you and me out in the dark, praying it will end. And we slip out the window, down the back stairs, and I find us a safe place to hide. Take my hand, Charlie, try not to be scared, put your coat on. It's cold outside. And with eyes closed tight, I dream I can fly, and I soar high above everything. No tears and no fears, just clear blue sky. And you're with me, Charlie, you're safe beneath my wing. You're safe beneath my wing. Well, it sounds like it's over, they've turned out the lights. Everything's quiet for now. You're asleep on my shoulder, so I'll carry you inside, and I'll try to find a way to get us out of this somehow. 'Cause I swear, Charlie, I can't take another night waiting for the world to cave in. I'm tired of hiding, I'm tired of the fights. No sooner does it stop than it all starts up again, and we slip out the window, down the back stairs, and I'll find us a safe place to hide. Take my hand, Charlie, try not to be scared, put your coat on. It's cold outside. It's cold outside.
Hey, that was nice. It was really sad. Dog show.
Yeah,
Sorry,
well,
trying to control the buttons and say things that are intelligible at the same time, and it's not
yeah.
possible. So Keith says thanks for playing that song,
Yeah.
and Betsy asks, "What is the status of that new album?" So we were going to talk about your new album a little bit.
Well, the status is it's being mixed and mastered right now, and I saw Dave at the thing I did Friday night. So my producer Dave, who was working on it, so I expect it to be out sometime in the next month. The only thing going on with the record is we're gonna bring in a very talented fiddle player, the fiddle player that played on Between Heaven and the Ground. Some of you guys have heard that song, and I'll play it in a couple minutes. Tiffany Shanta. She's going to do one more fiddle track for us on a song that's already recorded. But as soon as Dave gets done, I think we're just about there. So I expect to probably have it out sometime in the next 2 months.
Wow. So are these songs that you've written like in the past, during the pandemic or
Yeah, a little of both. Some of them were written before. Some of them didn't make the first record. You know how that goes. You got stuff that
mm,
you got to make those choices when it comes down to how many tracks you can put on. But most of them are pretty new things that have been written either just prior to or during the pandemic. Yeah. So I'm really proud of all the songs that are going to be on the record. It's we narrowed it down to 8 tunes, which is it's pretty. So that's a pretty short list of the very best. And as an artist, you always want to put everything. I mean, you wish you could put everything that you write, and you got to make those choices. It's hard sometimes, but um, you know, for us guys like us that are doing it ourselves, it's a monetary decision too, because you can only afford to record so many songs at a time. So
Yeah, that's true. And then you gotta also make the decision, okay, well, do these things fit together
exactly,
artistically?
yeah,
Are they and then, okay, yes, I can only afford to record so many, but I can only afford to put out one album right now, and then it's gonna be like, for me, 2, 3, 4 years before I put out another one.
yeah,
So, you know, do I just go ahead and throw everything in there?
yeah.
So
And as a songwriter, I don't know about you, I'd be interested to see if it's the same, but most songwriters, the most recent thing you've written is always the best. So it's like, oh no, that's perfect. That's it, you know. Um, so, as you write things after you've started the recording process, I'm always coming back to Dave and saying, hey, I got this new song that we got to record this one too. So,
yeah. Well, that song made me think of an older one of mine, that actually almost made it on my first CD and then didn't and got on the second one. So I think I'll play that next. But I did also want to comment on and compliment your finger picking. That I really enjoy the fingerstyle
yeah,
guitar work that you're doing,
thank
and
you.
it probably just seems like second nature to you. But like,
Well, it's funny because I didn't. I I I grew up playing electric guitar in bands, so I've always played with the pick. And then when I started the songwriting thing, I played with the pick, and then I just started writing all these tunes. And before I knew it, everything was pretty much being finger picked. And so it sort of snuck up on me, and now it's now it feels weird to play with the pick most of the time. So
hmm.
yeah,
Yeah, I'm working on the fingerstyle stuff. It's hard to like maintain for a whole
it's
song.
very hard. It's very hard to do live, and as
Yeah.
the fine motor skills are the first thing that seize up when you're nervous. So doing it live is always a challenge.
That is my exact problem. My hand will stiffen up and suddenly like anything that was like a little fiddly, so
Yeah.
I strum. I can strum all the time, but
Oh yeah, I can strum, yeah, in my sleep, but this stuff, and it's another, it's a bad habit. I'm constantly looking at my hands and my fingers and not looking up to sing to the audience because there's a lot of work going on down here. So
yeah. Well, I'll see if I can play this one. It's been a while since I've played it, but I just feel like it's the moment for it. So, the story behind this one, well, there's a bunch of stories behind this. It's all true. A line about city where he lives, because of the end of the street is a real, um, I'm blanking on the name now. It's in Pennsylvania. Has been on fire underneath the street since like the 1970s or maybe the late 60s, and so it's like a super fun site. Everybody had to move out,
oh wow.
and I, um, it's just not coming to me right now. Maybe someone will put it in the comments, but yeah. So this song is called "Broken," and let's see if I can play it. There's a clock that tries to tick, but the hands don't turn. There's a city where nobody lives, 'cause under the streets an endless fire burns. There's a zipper that's missing a tooth. There's a doll with a missing arm. There's a cart with a missing wheel. There's a man with a broken heart. And I want to fix it. I want to make it better. I want to mend your heart, put the pieces back together. But you're busy being broken. You're busy being broken. You're busy being broken. You're busy being broken. There's a moth hole in the sleeve of my favorite sweater. There's a woman who'd vote for president, but the system just won't let her. The rent keeps going up, the economy keeps going down. There's a crack in my favorite cup, there's a jack with a broken crown. And I want to fix it. I want to make it better. I want to mend your heart, put the pieces back together. But you're busy being broken. You're busy being broken. You're busy being broken. You're busy being broken. Tried to make it up, but my face was worn. Tried to dress it up, but the shirt was torn. Tried to sew it up, and the needle stuck. Tried to write this down, and the ink dried up. Lost my voice and couldn't sing. Tried to play for you and broke a string. But I want to fix it. I want to make it better. I want to mend your heart, put the pieces back together. But I'm busy being broken. I'm busy being broken. I'm busy being broken. I'm busy, too busy being broken. We're busy being broken. We're busy being broken. We're busy being broken. We're busy, too busy being broken. Whoo! All right. Well, let's welcome back Mike Ryan. There you
Love
are.
it. Love it. Very
Yeah.
interesting chord voicings. Very pretty.
Yes.
That's one of those songs that stands up really well by itself, or you could see all kinds of interesting things you could do if you added instruments to it as well. It could be a production number that had all kinds of cool stuff in it, I think.
Yeah, so that one is on my second CD. The CD is called Until the Words Are Gone, and Keith actually reminded me Centralia, Pennsylvania is the name where
Ah,
the
there you
coal
go.
seams caught fire, and so no one could live there anymore. But I'll go ahead, and since I'm talking about my CD, here's the link for my music and merch if anybody wants to check it out. amykucharik.bandcamp.com. And it just so happens, let's see. No, I think Friday was April 1st, which would have been Bandcamp Friday, right? So we just missed Bandcamp Friday, but no worries because Bandcamp is always a great place to shop for independent music. But since I'm giving you a sales pitch, I'll also mention that tips are welcome today, and I'll be sharing all of the tips with Mike Ryan. The tips go to me at Venmo at Amy-Kucharik or PayPal.me/Amy Kucharik, and it's there on your screen. You can see it. Um, yeah, and every time you tip us, a musician gets their wings or something. I don't know. I don't know. Oh,
Hey, it's payment enough just to get to hear your music today. I'm a
aw,
fan, so
thanks.
I've been a fan since
That
2015.
thank you. That song I was just thinking it is an older one, in fact, and I remembered as I was playing it. So I wrote that during the Obama administration, and I had to actually change a lyric because the original lyric said, the original lyric, what was it? So the part that said a woman would vote for president, but the system just won't let her. The original lyric was
Would run
there's
for
a
president.
president who inherited a mess from his predecessor
Ah,
because that
okay.
was when Obama was the president. And it's funny. So everything in that song is true except for one lie, which makes more sense if I play it on the ukulele, which is that I broke a string because ukulele strings are made of nylon, so they seldom, if never, if ever, break. Right. So I play this song, and I used to introduce it by saying, "All right, so this song is all true except for one lie."
You have to guess what it is,
And
or have the
I
audience
was
guess what it is, right?
yeah, and I was actually in Virginia, at a coffee house. This was a long time ago. I think I might have been on my way back from Kerrville, or it might have even been earlier than that. 'Cause like I said, it was when Obama was the president. So, yeah, that was Kerrville times, right?
Yeah,
So,
2015.
anyway, I go and play this song in Virginia, and I say, "All right, so there's one lie in this song and one thing that's true, or everything else is true." And a guy in the back of the room says, "A president who inherited a mess." And I was like, "Oh, right, I'm in the South here." Uh, so that was a little bit of uncomfortable feeling. I don't know how it is for you in Virginia, if there's
I have a hard and fast rule that I don't do anything political in my music, but
Yeah, that's
you
probably
know,
smart.
but I mean, the thing I love about the songwriting community, at least, and I guess I would say I've never seen any pushback from either side, and I have lots of friends that do lots of political stuff, um, so I've never seen any type of pushback. What I tell young songwriters, and I do a lot of songwriting seminars and workshops and stuff, is if that's what your passion is, you should definitely write about it, but you need to be prepared for the fact that not to your point, not everybody's going to agree with you. So it doesn't mean you shouldn't do it. It just means you got to be prepared to, sort of deal with whatever the pushback is from whichever side. So
Gordon quotes Christine Lavin here. Republicans don't go to folk concerts. Too many big words. Yay. So we've just lost all the Republicans in our audience today. I'm gonna let you play a song.
all right, well, let's take it back to something everybody can
No,
agree on.
no more politics here. All right.
Uh, so this next song is probably been the most popular number from that will be on the new record. I've been playing it live for probably about a year now, and it's another song I'm really proud of. I write a lot of story songs, and so I'm always looking for interesting stories. And I'm sort of a history geek. And a couple of years ago, I read David McCullough's book about the Wright brothers, and I never really thought much about the Wright brothers story or the history and actually what they did to change the world. And the way I introduced this song is that there are very few moments that actually truly change history forever. I mean, it's kind of an overused phrase, but there was such a moment on December 17th, 1903, when the Wright brothers made the first powered flight. And the fascinating thing about the Wright brothers' story to me is that they were not engineers, they weren't scientists, they weren't really even inventors per se. They owned a bicycle shop. They were just two guys that had this dream to build a flying machine, and went through all types of trials and tribulations and hardships, but they stuck with this dream, and they built this dream with their hands. So and in doing so, in chasing that dream, ultimately they changed history forever. And the first powered flight took place on a little spit of land in Kitty Hawk, in between the Atlantic Ocean and an inlet called the Albemarle Sound. And so this song is called Between Heaven and the Ground. Well, 8 days shy of Christmas, 19 and R3, on the coast of Carolina, my brother and me, we stood atop the sand hills by the Albemarle Sound, with a mind to sail across the open sky, between heaven and the ground. Well, we hail from Ohio, working men of modest means. Folks said that we were crazy, fooling with flying machines. They said, remember poor old Icarus, how he came crashing down. God would have gave men wings if they belonged between heaven and the ground. But when I close my eyes at night, the vision is the same. I see a sleek machine take flight, and I hear the clouds whisper my name. Those that doubt our intentions, they will never understand. And I build a dream with your hands, with your own hands. With your own hands. Well, the wind blew off the water as on the hill we stood, next to our winged invention, made of wire, cloth, and wood. My brother cranked the engine, my heart began to pound. I climbed aboard and set a course between heaven and the ground. And if I lived 1,000 lifetimes, would not forget the day I rose into the cool morning air and I watched the earth fall away. There above the sand hills, by the Albemarle Sound, two boys from Ohio touched the sky. Between heaven and the ground. Yeah, we proved that day that dreams can fly between heaven and the ground.
Woo! Yeah, I love that.
Thank
That's
you.
gorgeous.
Thank you.
Betsy said this
Yeah.
one is a winner, and I agree with her.
Yeah, it's really been popular with everybody, and it's a great story, and it's something most people don't think much about, but it's just a really cool story to build a song around. There's so many different elements, and so
Fun fact, December 17th is my birthday. So
really,
the Wright brothers
who knew?
was like shares the date with my birthday.
Yeah, and the studio version is just gorgeous. Tiffany, who I mentioned earlier, Tiffany Shanta plays this just heartbreakingly beautiful fiddle part over it, which is just a perfect texture because it gives it that kind of, you know, it puts you in mind of that time in history. The fiddle's just the perfect thing, and there's a gorgeous piano part, and it's just, the studio version's great. I mean, it stands alone pretty cool by itself, but with a bunch of other instruments, it's really special. So I'm really excited about putting that out.
So that's gonna go on the new
Yeah,
record.
it'll be on the new
That's
one. Yeah,
great.
yeah.
That's
So
awesome. I can't
yeah,
wait.
yeah. I'll send
Um,
you.
Yay. I enjoyed that very much.
Thank you.
It's just something about, I don't know, the idea of flight.
Right.
It's
And as
yeah.
a songwriter, the challenge with that song is to not go the obvious, not and when I played it at that contest thing I was talking to you about earlier, Friday night, one of the judges said, I noticed that you didn't use the word fly until the very last line of the song. And we
Oh.
proved that day that dreams could fly. So I tried really hard to find unusual, atypical ways to talk about flight. And the idea of being between heaven and the ground is something that always used to come to me when I was flying. I grew up like Irish Catholic. And so I have this sort of old school vision of heaven being above. And I always used to think to myself when I was flying on an airplane that I was between heaven and the ground. And I always wanted to find a way to put that in a song. And then or that idea in a song. And I happened on the Wright Brothers thing. And I'm like,
Oh,
that's it.
that's
So,
cool. I'm glad you found the song.
yeah.
So I think I'm gonna go from the sky to the ocean if I can remember how this song goes because it's another one I haven't played for a really long time. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. Yeah, all right. I think we can do this. So, there's a famous oceanographer named Sylvia Alice Earle, and she's probably the most important oceanographer since Jacques Cousteau. And she's not as well known as Jacques Cousteau, but her accomplishments are incredible. And she completed the deepest ocean walk solo.
Wow.
Like the bottom of the ocean, walked all by herself, with I mean a tether to uh,
Sure. Yeah.
the submarine or whatever. But and she's done a lot of work towards preserving the oceans. And there's a lot of problems right now with microplastics and all pollution and killing sea life. And anyway, she's got a TED talk where she talks about a lot of this, and I basically mined her TED talk to write this song. So it's kind of a kid song, but it's about this oceanographer, Sylvia Earle. So let's see if I can get through it without screwing up. Here we go. Sylvia Alice Earle walked upon the ocean floor, 1,250 feet below the surface of the world. Soft and faint, the surface glow, down below the twilight zone. Sylvia, she walked alone, her deepness, Sylvia Earle. Spiraling creatures that shine with their own living light. Corals and red crabs that dangle like shirts on a vine. Jellyfish sway while eels slither by. Flash and glow, everywhere life. Sylvia Alice Earle walked upon the ocean floor, 1,250 feet below the surface of the world. Now, here's the sad part. The whales don't sing like they used to. In an Eden 50 years ago. We've eaten 90% of the big fish, and the whales don't sing like they used to. Sing da da na 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 na. Sylvia Earle, she taught the ocean is our Earth's blue heart. If it would sustain us here, there's still time, but not a lot. Sylvia Alice Earle walked upon the ocean floor, 1,250 feet below the surface of the world. There's still time, but not a lot. There's still time, but not a lot. Hey. So that's what happens when you write a song from a TED Talk, I
Well, that's very
guess.
cool. That's a great idea. I'm sure there's all kinds of fantastic stories you could mine from TED Talks.
Yeah. So that's my most science-y history song.
Yeah, that was mine too. So
Mm. Cool. Gordon says, "Is this on an album? Next year it goes into my Women's History Month programs." Oh, thank you, Gordon. I've never recorded that one officially. There's a video on YouTube, and I'm singing it dressed as a mermaid, and there are people with like fish walking across the screen. So we did that. I wrote that song for something called the Encyclopedia Show, and the theme was explorers, and I knew I wanted to write about a female explorer, and I thought I want to do something besides like land exploration. So that was how I learned about Sylvia Earle. But thank you, Gordon. I will keep that one in the hopper for potential recording. I think it needs to happen. He says, "You are a mermaid, not a costume." Aw.
I'm
Again,
immediately
thanks.
going to Google that the moment this live stream is over. I have to see you in a mermaid costume.
The song is called Her Deepness
Okay.
because that's Sylvia Earle's nickname. But
All right.
oh man, yeah, it was a very silly performance, but kind of a serious song.
No, that's cool.
There's a crash symbol on it too, because so we're at time. We should go on a Mike Ryan song.
Okay. Well, I will leave you with my favorite song that I've ever written, and hopefully most folks can.
Oh, can I interrupt you
Oh
for
yeah, please.
just
Yeah,
one
sorry.
second to do my like closer business because it's
Yeah,
always
please.
awkward after you finish the song. So,
Yeah.
well, just a quick reminder: next week, I won't be here. I will be at the Burren in the evening, so 7 p.m. Eastern at the Burren in Somerville, Massachusetts. If you're in town, you can get your tickets. They're on sale now. Just go to amykucharik.com to get those tickets. The links actually. Here's the link. um, amykucharik.com. And then in 2 weeks, it'll be Easter Sunday. So I hope you either have your nice time with your family at church or hunting Easter eggs or whatever you like to do for Easter. The following week, April 24th, the final show of our season. So our big season closer. It'll be a 2-hour special with some guests that I'm not ready to announce yet. So you're just going to have to stay tuned for that information. But one last song for today. Thank you all so much for joining us. And here is Mike Ryan.
Yeah, thank you all. And just a shameless plug, if you like what you hear, go to mikepRyanmusic.com. There's a link there that'll take you to a site that has all of my songs from the last album, which is called At Home in the Darkness. And you can download those songs to your favorite platform. If you're from the Stone Age, you can get a CD at CD Baby or Amazon or whatever, or you can just reach out to me and I'll send you an autographed copy. This song is probably my favorite song I've ever written. Didn't really mention it. I grew up out west in Oklahoma, so a lot of my songs have got sort of rural allusions in them. And this song is about that feeling that we all have, especially nowadays when people are always looking at screens and phones and stuff. When you feel like the rest of the world's got something better to do than interact with you. It's called Someone Like Me. My radio dial is stuck on the Jesus station. Through the late night static, will I hear all the talk about salvation? I ain't worried about my eternal destiny. 'Cause someone like Jesus ain't got time for someone like me. Someone like me who's at home in the darkness, out on an old blacktop highway. Yeah, someone like me who's made peace with sleeping alone. Someone like me who's worn out and weary from wondering every day why so many hearts are as hard as polished stone. Well, I write you letters in my scratchy old long hand, but they come back unopened bound in a brown rubber band. You got places to go, and you've got people to see. And someone like you ain't got time for someone like me. Someone like me who's at home in the darkness on an old blacktop highway. Someone like me who's made peace with sleeping alone. Someone like me who's worn out and weary from wondering every day why so many hearts are as hard as polished stone. Well, summer's gone and the nights are getting cold. These days I swear I feel a million years old. And I try to follow the signs along the road, but they're all rusted out, full of buckshot holes, and through a dirty windshield from the corner of my eye I see the milestones and the fence posts go flashing by. Pretend I don't notice, but it ain't no mystery. This world is turning too fast for someone like me. Someone like me who's at home in the darkness on an old blacktop highway. Yeah, someone like me who's made peace with sleeping alone. Someone like me who's worn out and weary from wondering every day why so many hearts are as hard as polished stone. Why so many hearts are as hard as polished stone.
Yeah, very
Thank you.
nice.
Thank you.
I'm just curious, is that song in any way an answer song to Rod Stewart's Reason to Believe? Do you know that one?
I do know that
It's
song. Yeah,
like
I'm
someone
old
like
enough to remember
you.
that.
There's like a little bit of tonal
Yeah.
similarity to there, but
No, it's actually from being blown off as a musician when you're,
yeah.
when you're sort of, it's sort of the genesis of it was, yeah, feeling like people are just too important to answer your emails or,
I definitely got
return
that.
your phone calls and all that. So
Definitely got
everybody feels that way when people are looking at screens and stuff all the time. Now it's okay over here.
yeah.
So
Hey Tyler, thanks for joining us. We've had a good I mean Trevor. I always screw up because he's a Taylor fan on Twitch, but Trevor is the real name. Anyway, uh good times here today playing songs. I can't see what that is. Sent me a little emoji. Um
the mermaid.
anyway, uh, So, thanks so much to everyone who's joined us and who's tipped today. And thank you especially to Mike Ryan for being my special guest on the stream. And I don't know, anything else you want to add
I just
before
want to
we
say heartfelt
call?
thanks for having me sharing this time with you. And we must do a real live show together at some point now that we don't have any more excuses about COVID or anything like that. So I will
Yeah.
cheerfully come to your neck of the woods anytime. I got lots of good friends up there. We'll get Susan Cantaneo and all the
Oh,
Boston Mafia,
yeah.
and we'll put on a show. So thank
Yeah.
you. But thank you, genuinely. Thank you so much, Amy, for having me out today.
Yeah. Thank you to our online audience. And remember, the stream will still live on, so you can always share it with your friends later. And the Venmo lives on as well, so you can always send us a tip later on. But thanks, and I'll see you in 3 weeks right here for the April 24th season closer. And That's it. Have a great day.